Thank you guys so much for speaking with all of us today. My question for you guys is, what is it like returning to this show after so many years?
Daunting and scary. Like we were really worried about ruining people's childhoods, basically. And both Wellesley and I, in separate occasions before we even met each other, actually said no to the project before we started. And then, because we were worried, and
we did not want to mess up people's,
yeah,
childhoods or the iconic show itself,
And luckily, like people at Warner's and Amblin both had faith in us and brought us on board, and we hope to make everybody proud, basically, with what we've done.
Yeah, and just we tried to make a show that was worthy of the original, and so I hope people see the every frame and joke is imbued with a little bit of the flavor, a lot of the flavor and the DNA of the original, is what we tried to do. So yeah, I mean, terrified, and then maybe we have a plan for this. Let's just try and keep as much as possible and make it more of an update than a reboot.
It looks like I'm asking my question now. So every time I'm on the Warner Brothers lot, I sing the theme song. I can't help myself. So I'd love to hear about what you guys decided to include in the new version.
In the theme song itself,
mm-hmm.
versus the original theme song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we thought, okay, we're going to do a cold open, so that'll be the first thing they'll see. Everyone will see. But we want to make a statement, that this is just it's the same show. So the bulk of the original theme song is there, and then it's just sort of updated a little bit here and there with a little self-awareness, that the original did so well. And we thought, okay, well, here, let's tell everyone we've kind of updated it in a kind of a wink way, right off the bat. So we tinkered with a little bit with the theme, but kept most of it. I mean, it's iconic. You can't, we were don't lightning in a bottle, don't let it out.
And visually, we had the overseas studio, literally trace the original scenes because we wanted it to be exactly the same, except with the new designs and then with the new lyrics, we strayed, of course.
Okay, so with that, I know the original one had like Bill Clinton references and a lot of the local, the modern president at that time. You said you traced over the scenes for the intro. I'm imagining you replaced Clinton with somebody else, or are you going to make more Trump presidential references in this one, or what?
Well, in the opening specifically, we don't have any presidential reference, unfortunately, but yeah, I mean the scenes that are the same, we tried to keep them exactly the same. That's what we tried to go for. But in general, like Wellesley can talk more about the writing, as far as like what to update and what not to update.
Yeah, I mean, it was really looking at it through the the construct that they had created so well, and just applying the elements of the original, like the satire and the self-awareness and the meta humor and the musical comedy, and just updating it. And another interesting thing kind of happened along the way after we had started production. I have two young boys, and we watched a lot of animated shows together. And when they were about around 6 or 7, because you can watch, it's not just
I think we're losing.
Watch a show from 20.
Oh, I think we're
to
losing.
Anticipate the punch-ups of the jokes, because. Oh, sorry. Did my internet go down?
It did. It did. It dropped out for a bit. Do you want to just give me a test? 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You are back. Let me.
I don't know where did I cut out?
Did you want to re-ask that question or?
Yeah. So were you going to be a little bit more on the modern political, like in the 90s, you kind of made a bunch of push jokes on the politics of the times. So like there was a lot of Bill Clinton crap back and forth for that. Is there going to be something more on the Trumpian era, or is it just going to be kind of staying away from that to, be safe from the craziness that's out there?
No, we dove right in. We tried to, there was a point at which, like, and this has been said a million times, but sort of Trump he's almost satire proof because he's his own satire, kind of. He's so ridiculous. And, we took some jabs, but it just felt tired pretty quickly. So yes, there's definitely some stuff in there that you'll see that's Trumpian for sure. But, we didn't make a meal out of it. We didn't make it like, oh, we're going to take this guy down. It's like he's taking himself down and it's too obvious, too easy, But yeah, there's definitely enough in there.
So thank you so very much for bringing this show back. This is the gift that we needed in 2020 because it's been a hellstorm. And I needed this, and I think for everyone in this room, we all appreciate it greatly. That being said, what is it about the Animaniacs that makes it so timeless?
I think it's a lot of things. I think the show doesn't talk down to kids. I think, kids always love, characters that buck authority and, take down big egos. And I think for adults, the contradiction between the sort of between the comedic zaniness and the earnest sort of cultural and historical points of view and the satires allows the show to kind of reach a little bit further out into audience-wise. And the show has a nice balance of the update or reboot or whatever we're calling it. We tried to maintain that balance. And I think another thing that resonates with people are the relationships, the principal, the core cast, the Warners, like they always have each other's back. They've always stood faithfully alongside each other. And the audience knows that Pinky and the Brain love each other. Even though, Brain is a little emotionally constipated. And I think you made the point that, I think there's this, this culture of nostalgia that's happening. And I think a lot of it is, people are seeking comfort and familiarity. They're looking for sort of animated comfort food. And, we hope that we can provide that, because I'm going insane slowly. How many months are we into this thing? I don't even know if I'm alive anymore or what's happening, but, we need something, we need something. And, I think hopefully that will just, make people dive in even, deeper, looking for that comfort in Animaniacs. Excuse me.
I also think the visuals as well. There's definitely there's the writing aspect as far as quick wit and everything, but also keeping all the slapstick, all the visual humor in there, and making sure the characters look like the original characters and move like the original characters. It's like a lot of work went into making it very traditional animation style that harkens back to the 40s, so that's and 30s, so it's definitely that. I think that helps a lot too.
And people are like, can it please come back? Can it please come back? So I just wanted to know what sort of reaction you got from fans and what it meant to you.
Well, we weren't allowed to tell the fans till about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we kept teasing that, we can neither confirm nor deny or other cute things like that without actually saying, yeah, we're back. Yeah, it's us. We got brought back with the show. We had to play it kind of cool. But the enthusiasm we've encountered over the past 20 years doing Comic-Cons and other type of conventions, or the live show that Rob and Randy Rogel take out on the road doing the music. I mean, these fans have never forgotten the characters, are hungry for them, and truly cannot wait. And we do a little meet and greet afterwards, and they say, "Is it coming back? Is it coming back?" So we're just so thrilled to be able to be part of this and say, yes, we're back. Thanks to that guy there. I don't know which window he's in.
Wells,
Gabe
and Wells.
Gabe Swarr.
I didn't bring it back. I just shepherded other people.
You are a shepherd, my friend.
You look good in a shepherd costume, Wells.
The Wells is my shepherd. I shall not
want.
I'm barely involved. I just delegate everything.
Yeah. Sure you do.
So with the COVID thing going on right now, how did the
what COVID
recording and production? What COVID? How did that production things start, and how difficult was that in recreating this shrine to our childhood that you guys have been involved in?
Well, I like the shrine to our childhood thing, Monica. That's a very cool way to put it. No, the COVID thing really kind of reared its ugly head after we had finished the primary recording.
Yeah.
What made it interesting for me is that I'm actually in the Guinness Book of World Records as the worst person with technology that ever lived. So I had a couple of notable sessions in my closet trying to figure out how to do ADR, which is when you replace dialogue to picture for cartoons. And let's just say that was a train wreck. But other than that, it's been a groove. It's just the technical side of things leaves me a little bit flummoxed sometimes.
It's actually kind of surprised me in a lovely way. I mean, the truth is I prefer to be at the studio. I love being around everybody else. It makes me better at all of that. And these are people that you choose to spend your free time with. It's the coolest gig in the world. Yeah. But the fact is that we couldn't have pulled this off 25 years ago. It seems like everything with respect to Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs, it's like, honestly, Monica, it's kind of like it was meant to be. Everything, even from the beginning, when Wellesley would come, we'd say, how are people liking it? Hey, Gabe, what do you think? Did the people, and the thing is that people were freaked out because nobody had a problem with anything. They're kind of going, everybody's really, it's working. Well, what notes? No notes. Yeah. What? I know, right? They're going to fire us. It can't be. And so now, even when it came to post-production, we were able to get it done with broadcast quality. It's like we couldn't have done this years ago.
Yeah, the technology is absolutely right for it now.
Yeah.
And the timing couldn't be better, because let's face it, I think 2020 is a year when people need something to laugh about at least a little bit, you know?
Exactly.
Wells, you were going to weigh in with something. What were you going to say?
Oh, I'm just going to say that from a production standpoint, animation is better positioned to adjust to that remote working environment. We had to. And it was pretty seamless, I think, besides Jess's closet issues.
Yeah.
Which actually,
thank God he's out of it.
Getting to see the clothes that are in your closet was
there's a lot of stuff in there, man. That's a whole other press conference.
I'm wondering if all the beads and metallic bits actually caused like terrible resonance.
Yeah, man.
Actually wasn't dead.
You can see Jess's wardrobe from the space station. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's pretty good, man. Let's just say if Liberace and Steven Tyler had a baby, you're looking at it.
Yeah. Wow. Right. Sweet emotion. Yeah.
Was there any hesitancy about coming back when you got the call?
Well, I'll open up that one and just say that what was really cool about it is that, years ago, I've told this story a couple times today, Rob and Tress and I were approached to reprise the characters on another cartoon, right? Very edgy, very adult cartoon, very funny show. And they said, hey, we want to do a Whatever Happened to the Animaniacs. My agent's telling me this. And I said, okay. They said, yeah, they're going to have Dot be a prostitute and Wakko's going to be in the water tower with an Uzi taking people out. And they said, they're offering you a bunch of money. And I went, you know what? I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And she said, really? And I said, yeah. I said, because I love Wakko, and a lot of people love Wakko, and I don't want people to think that that's what happened to Wakko. So they can get somebody else to do it. And sure enough, they did. But the cool thing is that later in that same day, I learned, Megan, through my agents, that both Rob and Tress had both also independently said no. So that's a long-winded way of saying that, we love these characters. And our concern with bringing them back was, well, whose hands are they going to go into? And at first hearing that Steven was very much involved was a big relief, because we knew that would be a stamp of quality. And then when we met these guys who were really blessed to work with and saw what they were going to do with it, we all just sort of went, oh man, we're going to be just fine, because they were more than up to the challenge,
And you, Jess, you saying no to that speaks to the integrity of, you guys and the show.
Thanks,
and
man.
and it speaks to the the Warner's characters, and how they've always stood faithfully alongside each other.
Exactly right. That the subtext is that we do in real life too, which is a beautiful thing.
You guys absolutely do.
We couldn't have done it without you guys. Like, honestly, we could not have done the show without you guys. Like, it's
thank you, Gabe.
Impossible.
Well, I think when we've kind of broached that subject a couple times today, and I think it's safe to say that Mr. Spielberg is like the coolest nerd in Hollywood. So he's at the beginning of his eponymous documentary, he talks about, I believe, every live action director should direct animation.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, and of course he said this 100 years ago while there was animation, but not the technology we have now. But his point was well taken. And in the middle of this documentary is a chunk of Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs and all that stuff. So it's clear it was important to him. So much so that he would say, oh, either we do it with Yakko, Wakko, and Dot and Pinky and the Brain, or we just don't do it. And for us, that is not only just an incredible compliment, but it speaks to utter authenticity, Gabe. Totally.
Yeah. But you know what else is kind of cool? We've talked about this a lot today, talking about the team, is that these guys, man, they really had it handed to them, because, Animaniacs at its heart has always been like culture satire. It's very satirical, and there was a lot of stuff to make fun of in the 90s. There's a lot more to make fun of now. So the question becomes, well, how do you make a kid's cartoon about gun control or climate change be funny, relatable, and entertaining to 8-year-olds and their parents and their grandparents? And these guys, the way I've been putting it all day is, the four of us as actors would sit at the other side of the room with cards like in the Olympics, and we'd see these scripts that they would produce miraculously, addressing these things so well, and just hold up our tens and go, man,
crazy.
I didn't have to write that. I'm lucky I get to say it. But the writing that they produced, and
crazy.
Everything else is just at the highest.
Astonishing, Meg, really.
I'm curious, in terms of the everyone on the voice cast, was there any challenges for each of you to come back and actually voice these characters after so many years?
No.
No.
No, in fact,
I do Brain in the shower. I mean, Brain is
contract.
Brain has been sort of deep inside me, like the Hulk inside Dr.
Yeah.
And, I've been waiting for him to come out all this time. So, he's a comfortable suit for me. I mean, he's just, no, there was no problem at all. And it was, especially getting to be in the studio with Rob and have that balance and have that chemistry of Pinky and the Brain again.
Also, these guys, they haven't stopped working. There's no, they haven't not worked. So the last 22 years, they've gotten even better. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So it's
well, and you know what? That's
gift,
thanks, Gabe, and that's kind of true. We're better now than we were. Jesus, we ought to be, right? But
we had a lot more practice.
Yeah.
I think my voice, along with my ass, dropped a little bit in the past 25 years. So I actually sound a little more like Orson Welles than I did in the 90s. So it actually helps the character that I've got a little more age on me and a little.
And I sound more like Pinky than I did in the 90s. But honestly, Scott, really, it's all of what you might expect and more. To be able to jump in the coolest freaking sandbox in the world with the King of Hollywood, this incredibly astute, bright group of writers, Steve and Julie Bernstein running the music, who were there with Rich Stone, and they've got their pile of Emmys. The DNA is so deep in this show. It really, when you really think about it, this is almost totally unique in a Hollywood situation where a reboot comes back 25 years later, brand new ways in which to consume entertainment. The unabashed, unquestioned king of Hollywood, at what, 72 or 73 years old, says, "Yeah, let's do this again."
I'm only 62.
Oh yeah. But you see my point. It's just The Simpsons is 30 years old, but it's been on the whole time.
Yeah.
To take a chunk of time out, a generation, and I think it's safe to say that the audience is exponentially larger than it was, when you guys were little. Your parents, people younger than you and older than I, including Steven. I mean, this is so unique.
And my single favorite thing about it, you guys, is that, on the road, we never really stopped doing the voices, Scott, because we'd be, the Comic-Cons and personal appearances and Animaniacs Live, Rob's show, so we're always doing the voices, right? But what's a really beautiful thing is that when we meet people at these appearances, we hear a lot is, you were my childhood. You were my childhood. And as Gabe was kind enough to say, we've all worked continually since then. So every 5 years, you got new kids who you get to be part of their childhood, right? Well, the most beautiful part of the Animaniacs revival, to me personally, is the idea of parents who grew up watching this show and looking forward to this show after school, or if they were going through a hard time, are going to get on their couch with some popcorn with their kids. And they're both going to get to rediscover it at the same time. The kids maybe for the first time, the parents in a new way. So it's just beautiful in lots and lots of ways, man.
Yeah, and then you get to explain fingerprints. Good night, everybody.
All over again.
Yeah.